Welcome back to Adobe Live. My name's Ryan Selvey, and this is File New, something to help you stay up to date with the creative world when everything's changing, how to stay creative when the world is so insane. We have a lot on the show today for you, including Olympic rings as Noodles, branding all the way down to the snack that you're eating. We have a Titans rebrand for the NFL, and there's also a cease and desist that everyone's talking about with the AI community and both ByteDance and Disney, a whole bunch of stuff. We're live on both YouTube and Behance, so it's great to have you guys here. Let's go ahead and we're going to hop into our first thing, which is the news. All right, so beginning strong, we are going to start actually with something about Insta360 CEO. They're teasing a DJI Osmo Pocket competitor called the Luna. And if you guys are familiar at all with DJI, they are a company that is known for their drones. They're also known for their kind of handheld mini cameras that you can use, and they have really good like 4K resolution, but they also are just like can really fit in your pocket. They're literally called the Pocket 3. This is what it looks like, and it has a nice little screen on it. It also is it's very flexible. It's very steady. You can control it. It can link to your phone. Now, Insta360 is teasing a DJI Osmo Pocket competitor called the Luna. And when I say teasing it, they're literally like posting onto Chinese social media with these pictures of like blurred out stuff, which essentially are just kind of like soft launches for their essential like product placements. They also have this here. The interesting thing about the one that they're teasing is both in white and black, but it has two cameras on it. So what does that mean? Is that like the back of your phone where there is like multiple lenses for maybe zooming and maybe macro? Or is it something where it could be something with like 3D perspective, or something that is doing stereoscopic kind of recording and capturing? Who knows? It hasn't been fully announced yet, but it did come from the CEO, Liu Jingkang, and it is definitely a competitor because it looks very similar in design to it. And it is believed that it will be announced on February 28th. And the only kind of other information that they have is that Luna will definitely come in the first half of this year, which if it happens in 10 days, guess what, guys? That means that's going to happen in the first half of the year. But we will see, and I will keep you guys updated if it ends up getting officially announced. We'll announce it on the show as well. Hello to Alyssa and Kendall. We have Steven, Winter. We have Cheryl, amongst other. We're also live over on Behance, so hello to Wade over there and Kendall. Wade, come on over to YouTube. The water's fine. We'd love to see you here. We're going to have some polls coming up real soon. If you guys are watching the replay, good to have you here. This is also available as a podcast. Just go ahead and check it out on wherever you listen to podcasts, whether that's iTunes or Spotify. It should be there. Also, hello to Jana. Great to see you here, and glad that you're tuning in. So next up, let's talk a little bit about, since we're talking about some tech stuff right at the beginning, this is kind of hot off the presses. This happened just towards the end of yesterday. Google announced that they have their event, Google I/O, which is their big developer conference. And a lot of times they will show off a lot of new technologies or new things that the company is really interested in exploring. It looks like it's going to be from May 19th to May 20th. This is reporting coming from Emma Roth at The Verge. You can see here it says it will take place from May 19th to 20th, an announcement that they gave out on Tuesday. It says that they will show the latest AI breakthroughs and updates and products across the company, from Gemini to Android and more, during the event, which will take place in person in Mountain View, California, Shoreline Amphitheater, and online. It's always kind of a thing where sometimes it'll be a big year where they have lots to announce. Other times they're really filling space. So I'll be interested to see which one it is going to be this year. Let's keep talking about some tech stuff, just since we're starting off tech. I promise we're going to get into more creator news too. Also, I just know that technology influences and impacts creators at a very strong rate because we're kind of at the whim of algorithms and tech companies. Business Insider's Sydney Bradley is reporting that death isn't the end. Meta has patented an AI that lets you keep posting from beyond the grave. It says that the company was granted a patent in late December that outlines how a large language model can simulate a person's social media activity, such as responding to content posted by real people. Roscoe is trying to literally crawl on top of my camera right now. The language model may be used for simulating the user when the user is absent from the social networking system. All right, guys, we get a full Roscoe feature today. We have no plans to move forward with this example, a spokesperson for Meta has told Business Insider, which is interesting. Like, why are you going to patent something? This reminds me of kind of like when the iPhone was first getting big and the idea was to just like patent everything into the ground, even if it wasn't something that was going to be made. Instead, just having kind of like toddler approach to the idea of like, well, it's mine because I just called it, even if you don't have an interest in doing it. How do you guys feel about this? I'm pretty sure everyone on the internet did not enjoy this news. It's something that feels very dystopian. And it says that they don't have plans to move forward with it, so hopefully nothing comes of it. But I also know that it's very interesting that you need to always set up kind of a plan for if you die unexpectedly or expectedly, that you can then go and have someone take over your socials and figure things out. Everyone's saying hello to the cat. I appreciate it. He is, of course, only showing up now right after I go live. So thanks for that, buddy. All right, I like to keep things light here, but I guess since we're talking about kind of doom and gloom, we're just going to knock it out real quick. This show definitely likes to avoid doom scrolling because I know you guys want to get away from it. But I wanted to call out this story because I know that this is something that a lot of friends and family are messing with, and I just want to have kind of an acknowledgement of the fact that there is a new report that says long-term unemployment is becoming a status quo in today's job market. It's a mental war, according to a job seeker. It says that 1 in 4 unemployed people, or 1.8 million Americans, have been job searching for over half of a year, which is, you know, its own thing. I know that the job market is really hard out there, specifically for younger people, people who are maybe just like kind of fresh out of college. They're kind of looking for entry-level jobs. It says here that apparently entry-level job postings were down by about 35% in mid-2025 compared to January of 2023. And then you can see here that it's definitely not near the gigantic peaks of COVID and that unemployment rate, but you can see that it is kind of then going back up. And it says that as of January 2026, the long-term unemployed accounted for 25% of all jobless workers in the U.S. And this is coming from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics as of February 11th. And this was thanks to reporting coming to us from CNBC. It was drawn to my attention by Unusual Whales, who I follow on Instagram. And they post nice updates. Oliver is saying that it's the same in the UK. Young people are coming out of college and university can't find any work. And it's important to have junior designers and important to have people that are, learning the industry to then take the torch to the next thing. All right. So that's all like the scary news that we have for today. I do want to go ahead and I want to hop into some happier news for you guys. This is for anybody who has a Rode mic. This is a new development with Rode mics that work with phones. So you see a lot of people are holding them up all the time in, different Instagram videos. And you can see here that Rode is introducing a functionality to their microphones that can now directly connect to your phone without a receiver, which is really nice. So up until this point, you have had to, whether you're using a Rode mic or I believe I use like something called like Hollyland Lark Sound, you would have to go in and you have to then plug something into the bottom of your phone that then works as a receiver to receive the microphone that you have as an external microphone. They said that they're now announcing Direct Connect and it's available with the Wireless Micro. This is a new technology that allows it to just use Bluetooth, and it also is including a powerful new noise reduction feature. So if you are working in a noisy environment and you're talking a lot, this is something that then can actually kind of save you the time to then be able to not have to fix it in post, which everyone, loves to hear. You can also tailor the noise reduction feature to being low, high, or entirely off. I know I tend to sometimes just have it as low when I'm working with my Hollyland Lark sound, which are the little circle ones that you see in my videos. As I said, this show is available as a podcast, so I do think that this is also an exciting development. I know that the headline sounds technical and weird, but it is something that will be kind of felt throughout the iTunes streaming service. It says that Apple's podcast app is now supporting HTTP live streaming video technology. You say, Ryan, I don't know what that means. Don't worry, I will let you know what it means. It's very simple for why you should care about it. Basically, this now allows new formats besides just MP4 and MOV, which is what they used to have, but it lets you switch seamlessly between watching and listening, which is a big deal. So you can just turn off the video and just have audio, or you can switch it to just be a video. That way everything is just uploaded as a single file and it's up to the users. It's also available offline for video and audio, which is nice, and it's also offering a horizontal full display option. So you can now turn your phone and it's going to make it so that it can totally pop up. It also has support for things like picture-in-picture. When you want to hop out and you want to have it just float on top of your screen and your menus, it's something that is interesting to see. It can also automatically adjust the picture quality to ensure smooth playback in various network conditions, because no one likes to have super high-res video but not being able to play it. Also, hello, welcome back to Patrick. Good to see you here. And Kendall's excited to be able to use her Rode mic easier now. I do know that the Rode mic, I think, is definitely for a wireless micro. I don't know if that's the one you have. I don't know if you have to update or what. It'll be interesting to see if it's something that they update to the rest of them or if it's just that functionality right there. But yeah, where do you guys mostly listen to your podcasts? What service do you use? Both for conversation in the chat today, but also just for research and purposes of being able to see what works best for you guys and what I should optimize for. Because I can look into doing HTTP live if that's something that people use, Apple Podcasts to watch this show. But if you guys are using something else, let me know, and I want to make sure that I check that out. All right. So this is a bit of a headline story here. I actually scheduled a Instagram reel to go live right before this live stream today. So I actually am just going to be selfish and I'm going to pull in my own Instagram reel and we can check it out. You guys can also do me a favor, repost it, like it, comment it. But this is the one that I just posted up today, and it's about this really cool story that I learned through Motion Mondays because they were the ones that highlighted it on their show on Monday today. But then I went into it and I kind of wanted to explore why it is that it is how this functionality works. So let's go full screen. Oops, not full screen there. Full screen here. And we can play it. This is a real sports replay, but no one filmed it from this angle. A company called Arcturus is turning real footage into freely roamable 3D replays. It's powered by something called Gaussian Splatting, which sounds complicated, but the idea isn't. I'm Ryan Selvey. I cover news for creators and designers. Use this painting as an example. Up close, it's just dots. Step back, and it becomes a full scene. Now, imagine if the dots were painted floating in 3D space instead of sitting flat on a canvas. A bunch of synchronized cameras capture the play from multiple angles, and all of that visual information gets converted into millions of tiny floating data points. It's almost like a cloud of colored cotton balls suspended in space. Each one stores color and depth information. When you reconstruct all of them together, you get a 3D model of the entire moment. That means broadcasters can recreate photorealistic models and move through the play to generate camera angles that were never physically filmed. You can even try a simplified version of this on your phone with apps like Scaniverse. You move around an object and it rebuilds it as a 3D point cloud. Arcturus is also exploring concerts and other live events, which means this isn't just about replays, it's about turning moments into digital explorable spaces. So yeah, that's my reel that I have going on. Do me a favor, check out Ryan Selvey on Instagram and give it a like for me. There was something interesting here that I also pulled up that I didn't mention in the reel. Apparently, back in December, so about 2 months ago, they raised $2.3 million to kind of reinvent these sports replays. It is working on using 3D reconstruction. Also, did that make sense for you guys? How was that as far as like dumbing down the experience for understanding what Gaussian splatting is? Because when I had like Gaussian splatting pulled up, I was very first kind of overwhelmed with it, and then I learned more about it just kind of being cotton balls, and that was the best way that I could work with it. Also with the idea of the like, I don't know, the idea of how it's like made out instead of polygons. I didn't want to go fully into it. The app that I tried 2 different apps, okay? So I used one first, which is Polycam, and that one actually even has the like the ability to do entire like inside spaces. So if you want to do like a tour of your house, you could do that, and that's called Polycam. I can also put these in the raindrop. Now that looks like this. And like it can be used for construction sites and stuff. I think that's it. It's very expensive. I used a 7-day trial and tried something out, and I didn't like the result. So that's when I actually switched over to the other one. And that's the one that I used in the reel itself, which is called Scaniverse. And Scaniverse was free entirely. And I was like trying to figure out where they get their money from, because I was like, there is no microtransaction in here. This is just what it is. But it is looks like it's also available on MetaQuest 3, which is interesting. And this one worked really well. It had a few different ways to do it. It also had things where you could like put it on a map, but I did not want to dox myself, so I didn't. But this one is called Scaniverse, and it's on both iOS and Google. I'm guessing Polycam's probably on it, but I'll go ahead. I'll put this in chat for you guys. And also, thank you, Winter. I'm glad that it was well understood. Also, to Clever says, nicely done. Dino's saying, can we make the scene from The Matrix when Neo dodges the bullets? Yes, I mean, essentially. I saw a good video that they were talking about it in here that I actually linked out to as well, that goes into a lot more stuff. So this is Bilawal Sidhu. It is a 14-minute video, and he doesn't only actually cover this Arcturus story. He covers all of the sports technology that we have today that is essentially 10 years ahead of what we are consuming media through right now. So right now, when someone is on the field, we just have regular cameras that are kind of like going and broadcasting. We were looking at the Super Bowl graphics and stuff. Those are all very interesting things, but like, speaking of even just the Super Bowl itself, there is a microchip inside of the football. There is a microchip in like all of the pads of all of their uniforms. There is a microchip in their helmet. There's microchips on the sidelines. They have a full 3D scan of the entire field. That's how they do the first down yellow mark, is they're like recreating that. They're doing posts and stuff. Also, like then when they're going into replays, they can do like different 360 views. Basically, it is like far beyond what we are then absorbing it as, and as we are consuming media. And it's kind of like part of it is the form factor. Like, you know, you're not going to want to wear a VR headset on. There's something really cool that Apple's doing with F1, since they own the rights to F1, where you can have all of the screens up, and then there's a map down on the table, and you can see the cars move around the map, and you can click in on different players or drivers, to then see as they move around. But I linked to that in the raindrop. And like I said, I don't think I put it on here because I forgot. But I promised them that I would always mention their name, because the guys at School at Motion do this great Motion Mondays, and I learned it through this real-time
denoising comes to
episode 2 days ago on Motion Mondays, and I'll be sure to link to that, and they talk a little bit about it as well. They don't talk about as much of the Gaussian splatting, but that is just something that I thought was really interesting that I wanted to explore. One thing that I also didn't show, because wasn't sure if it was going to hurt my engagement or not, because it made me look violent. Does this not let me play right now? Play, baby, play. Maybe I can pull it up. Is that Arcturus did a collaboration with this slapping sport. And it's when people like slap each other for sport. And they were able to do the 3D for it. I just was worried that it would look too violent on the algorithm and they would like not do my reach. But like, look at this. You can like go through their face and do a first point. And just what a strange sport. And they're able to recreate it. And you can see that there's some stuff, you know, like there is some mesh on the face and stuff that moves around. But I think when you're like looking at this stuff, one, it will get better, of course. But two, it's like that's not what you're looking for. You're looking for something that's a little photorealistic and you're looking for the movements. And mostly you just want to see like where things hit. LOL. But interesting to see where this goes. And was interesting to see all of these in practice. They did, you know, tennis, they did baseball, basketball. Interested to see where this company goes next and if it comes to broadcast soon, because right now it's mostly just for replays. The one other thing that I also wanted to show you guys is a little bit of when I was making that reel in After Effects real quick. I'm sorry, I'm really deep side railing here. This just did take some time. The way that I was trying to visualize it is I added this effect onto this footage called CC ball action, and you can mess with like the grid spacing of like the ball, but it essentially turns everything into balls for you. And then you can displace those balls based off of a bunch of different factors, whether it's brightness or saturation or RGB. For my example, I only needed to have it be kind of just show that it was displaced. You can see originally I went through, this is what I ended up doing with the CC. I like turned it into a 3D object and turned it to the side and then expanded it. But originally the way that I tried to show it was I was like cutting out each color in Photoshop, and then I was then pulling them apart. I might have even deleted it. No, here it is. Nope, no, it's not. I deleted it, I think. No, here it is. Okay, yeah. Also, props to my computer for being able to handle this while I'm streaming. But this wasn't exactly like what it was doing, so I ended up not going with this, and I learned about the CC ball to then be able to mess with it, which I thought was interesting. So that's how I created that. Winter says they want to be a slap trainer, and Pearly is laughing at it. But Winter also wants to know how you train for it in general. CV Girl is also saying this can't be real. By the way, I know CV Girl is Alessandra, so good to see you, Alessandra. It's always so nice to see you, and nice to have you here. We have plenty of other news stories to get through, though. This is the big news story that we hinted at the beginning with the cease and desist. So I'm not even going to show a lot of the videos here because of the copyright situation that's going on. But it got really big last week when Seedance, which is owned by ByteDance, which is the TikTok people, are released a new AI model that could recreate like perfectly like high fidelity videos, and they were recreating like scenes from movies just off of a single prompt. Like I know Star Wars was in there with the Star Wars meme. They had what's his name from Mission Impossible like beating up I think The Rock. I might be remembering it incorrectly, based off of just a prompt. And basically, something that was really big about this was that it has multimodal audio and video joint generation. So a lot of times with the AI videos that we've been looking at before, they only last like a few seconds, whereas these are looking like full footage that are holding onto things and having clarity and consistency. But then, yes, on top of that, they very clearly just ripped copyright things and said, who cares? And said, who's going to go? So then there was statements put out by SAG-AFTRA, which said that they stand with the studios condemning the blatant infringement enabled by ByteDance's new AI model. The Motion Picture Association came out and said something about it. Disney was saying that with a pirated library of Disney's copyrighted characters from Star Wars, Marvel, and other Disney franchises, as if Disney's coveted intellectual property were free public domain clip art, which clip art I thought was a choice term. And then they said that they believe this is the tip of the iceberg, and it is shocking considering Seedance has been only available for a few days. So they sent a cease and desist on Friday, and it's a developing story. This is coming from Sarah Fisher at Axios. I'll keep you guys updated as to what that looks like. Let's touch on some Adobe news because it's great to have some feedback from you guys whenever you guys have experience with Adobe or with products. This is coming off of the Adobe blog. They just recently relaunched the Adobe App Communities platform, and this now lets you to embed videos directly into your posts. You can share code blocks of things that you're experiencing, and you can also add inline images when you're having conversations. This is a spot for the community of up to 40 million registered users to come by and talk about things that they want to see in Adobe programs and talk directly to developers. It's the thing that they're working on for You Asked, We Answered commitment, where Adobe has really been focused on the last year on saying these are the things that the community is really talking about and wanting in the programs, and we are going to create from there. The idea is to spark new ideas, so you can add your voice to the conversation, share your expertise, and discover new inspirations. You can request a feature, and you can also see transparency at every step because things have open for voting in development or release to see how many of the community is then kind of contributing to that. Because as you guys even know, with like the Adobe Animate thing, enough people came to the forum that was presented by Adobe and said, we hate that you're getting rid of Animate. And then Adobe said, okay, all right, then we're going to just sunset it. So it does make an impact, and they do pay attention to it. I have worked on the inside of Adobe from this perspective before, and it was something that we were constantly checking and looking when we were doing research and reporting to the teams. So I definitely suggest checking this out and hopping in here if you have opinions and ideas that you want to be seen by developers and be reflected into Adobe products. Obviously, there is a social listening team that looks at social media and online communities, but this is the one that is not going to be missed because it's going to be directly seen here. Is that, what is this? What do I have down here? Oh, that was our Arctura. So I think that's all of our news stories that we have. We have Font of the Week coming up next, which is the font selection choice where we put it up to you guys to vote on a font from Adobe's fonts, and then we pick the winner, and then you can add it to your repository of really great fonts that we vote on each week. But since we're halfway through, I do want to take a second to touch on the schedule for this week. Right now it's Wednesday when we're streaming this live, and you can see that after this we have Twitch, which is Cinema Collective. It's CA in LA. And they're over on Twitch. They're talking about the film industry. They're LA editors, and they're great. Then tomorrow, I'm really personally excited. I mean, I'm excited about everyone. Don't get me wrong. But I'm really excited about this 10 a.m. show, 1 p.m. Eastern, Processing and Storytelling Practices for Underwater Imagery. And this is with Jules Jacobs. He is a underwater nature conservationalist photographer, and so we're going to be looking at things in like reefs and things in like seaweed and sea and kelp forests and underwater animals and stuff, and looking how his process is and how that relates to everything else. Obviously it's nothing that I'm ever going to do, but I have so many questions for him and I'm very excited about it. So that's tomorrow at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. But we have a whole loaded day of a bunch of different stuff, including on the spot and making decisions. And then on Friday, there is a TikTok stream and also an education stream back over on YouTube. So plenty of stuff for everyone. But with your guys' permission, I guess we'll do Font of the Week. Font of the Week. Who's going to win the crown this week? We have some weird ones. The first one that we have, I always have a hard time when I don't know how to pronounce some of these, but this is Quokka from Cake Type. It is kind of a almost like 8-bit looking font, but it is gritty and smooth with round edges. The J is really cool for the jumps here, whereas like the Y is cool. There's a hole in the middle of the X, which is really cool and weird, but it doesn't read as an O because you can see that it's right next to the O, and it's not a like misconstrued legibility issue. And it's also available in italics, which is nice. They have kind of a glitch to the side. I am going to start up this poll, and you guys can vote as we go. But as I always say, you might change your mind in the middle of it. So if that's the case, don't say I didn't tell you so. We're going to make sure that we put them all properly up. And we have, what is this? Monotalic, which is also going to be our second one. We'll talk about that in a second. And then we also have Malaga, So I always try to pick up different ones that have different vibes to them. So let me know if you guys like the selection, if you feel like they are adequately put against each other. I really like that for this imagery on their website, they use a little shrinky dinks. Apparently the inspiration from this one comes from they developed this type family available from Bold Monday. It took shape by duplicating and layering the same bitmap lettering in Adobe Photoshop, lol. Experimenting with multiplication, transparency, and layer sequencing produced the final letter forms. At a later stage, it says Peter rounded the corners of the bitmap shapes for a custom typeface proposal that unfortunately ended up in the unused projects drawer, providing the adage of one person's trash is another person's treasure. It was later retrieved from said drawer and added to the cake type collection. The letter E looks so happy. The typeface was named after quokka, which is the diminutive, perpetually smiling cousin of kangaroos and wallabies, which are those really, really cute things. It says that it comes in 3 styles and supports Latin extended and acrylic. You can see the PDF specimen for complete character set and open type feature overviews on their website, which is on Cake Type. I'm going to go ahead and we can pull up Photoshop so that we can look at the glyphs. But as that's loading and I pull that up, we're going to hop over onto our second one here. It looks like Winter says that it reminds her of Pac-Man. Oliver says all aboard the photo ship. All right. Okay. Wade is also saying that quokkas are amazingly cute. They wonder what the connection for the font is. And there you go. It was something with the E. And how happy the E was. And just how it kind of exuded the same energy. I know it's a lot of people's favorite alongside like a capybara. So Monotalic is coming to us from Nicolo Caustic and Zoran Caustic from the Caustic Type Foundry. Do you think they're related, or do you think it's just a coincidence? This one was really weird because it has some cursive mixed with regular letter forms, and it has a really strange personality to it. They have narrow, normal, and wide. They have a whole write-up about what it's all about on their website, so I grabbed some screenshots, but this wasn't even all of it, which is crazy. They said that they wanted to approach it in a new, exciting way since it was a monospaced font, because they're mostly used for coding, but modern code editors use colored text in order to differentiate between different kinds of code, and there's usually no need for traditional text styling by adding italics, bold, or other styles, because the code lines are overstated as it is. But that's why Monotalics focuses on one style only in 3 widths and 4 weights. The weights allow users to choose the perfect contrast of text on screen depending on their monitor resolution and background color in the editor. It says movie scripts are also almost exclusively set in 12-point Courier, but it became the industry standard because when set in the specific screenplay format, it helps with the breakdown of the schedule and budgeting process of the film production. Although it looks completely different, set in Monotalic, which normal width, it will take the same amount of space as Courier. So you can switch it out. It'll look totally different, but it won't mess with anything, which is really nice. It was created as a fun experiment, exploring better solutions for monospaced type design. And it says that most monospaced fixed width typefaces have the same main design problem regarding the lowercase, filling the empty space around L, F, I, and J, and R. But that usually brings the addition of slab serifs to those narrow characters, causing many monoscript fonts to look and feel alike. They solve the problem by adopting the handwritten or cursive font. So it's super weird. It is something that is fully its own thing. I like that it's fully focused on function over form, but then taking the form of it and then modifying it to meet function in a weird way. Nee, who welcome back. We haven't gotten to the noodles yet. I promise we will. Says that it is her as a font. Strange personality to it, which, yes, that was super fun. We were just live with Nee just before this, hoping to help you find some fonts. And if you guys have the ability to go and have the time to go check out the stream right before this, make sure you do that. And then our third option and our last one for the day, this one's a little bit weighted, I know, because it has all of these different options, but they had a really good type kit on their website, so I wanted to be able to highlight it to the best. This is Malaga. Malaga is designed by Xavier Dupree from Emigre. We've definitely focused on their stuff before. It is definitely a strong body copy font, which is really nice to see. It says that Xavier Dupree, who was the designer of the typeface, believes that within typeface design, most legibility needs to have been worked out, and that today we are satisfying aesthetic desires. We design typefaces to differentiate our communications, and type design is primarily a formal exercise reflecting our personal quirks, technological obsessions, and cultural heritage. In the case of this work, issues of cultural heritage and personal quirks are of particular consequence. He's an incessant traveler, and he visited the following countries during the development of the typeface: Thailand, Malaysia, Indonesia, Myanmar, Cambodia, Vietnam, France, Belgium, and finally Spain. Man, got to get that income stream for being a type designer, you guys. Let me go all over the place. Start making type, and I can just travel the world. And his choice for the name of Malaga originates from a port city in southern Spain. Has anyone been there before? Let's see. I don't know. We'll see. Very interested to hear. Also, hello to Monica over on Behance. We are hanging out over on YouTube, so make sure you hop on over so that you can join the poll. It obviously has lots of different weights, has lots of different flexibility, has narrow, has 16 fonts all built out in it, bold, italic, small cap, among others, and it's just a really flexible typeface, and I don't know, very cool to see. You can see here I have a bunch of my old documents here. I just want to quickly look at some of the glyphs if we can. I know that we are short on time, as always. I always put too much in the shell, and then I fly through it, and I feel like we don't have time to sit on stuff, but it also helps it move along. You can see they have a lot of nice ligatures. They even have like weird ones like FFH and FFI, FFL, FFK. And you can explore all the different types of accents that they have here for a bunch of different use cases. There are fractions, very nice small caps, which are different from your regular caps because of the way that they are kind of fitting into small letters. Then all the way at the bottom, you even have some nice curly accents. So it's very flexible. They have lots of glyphs. They have even a compass here. And then they also have plenty of punctuation. So you don't have to worry about any invalid characters. If you're wondering what it looks like when we put out file new, it looks like that. Let's also look at the mono italic font. And as to be expected, all of these things are going to be the exact same width. And there's probably not going to be too much craziness in here just because, yes, this is built for both like scripts and types. They're going to have all of your punctuation that you need, obviously, especially for writing scripts or for writing in code. But it is going to stick to the basics for you, which is to be expected. And when you write out file new, it looks like that. But let's look at you when we put in like file new like that. Then they add the serifs to it, which is nice to see. And then finally, the last one that we wanted to check out the glyphs for happens to, where'd you go? We looked at Malaga. We looked at, for Quokka, which, as we know, and as we were saying, is a happy little animal. So we can hopefully expect to have happy little glyphs. You can see they get real creative here. I just want to get regular because I want to see what they look like here. Nice kind of bitmap vibes. Even has like these crazy currency signs, even though you wouldn't think it would make sense. And it even has some ligatures. I just saw an AE there, which is nice. And then it has some arrows amongst, I guess, there's like Greek letters, accents, and more. And then, of course, their own little logo kind of built into it. So those are the three options. I'm going to keep the thing open for you guys so you guys can vote on which you are happiest with. And we will see who is crowned the winner. And like I said, it's very soft and very rounded and very nice for something that normally feels kind of like edgy and hard with the idea of like a kind of 8-bit kind of style. So those are fun of the week. We're going to keep it running, and we're going to hop into some of your favorites. I know it's Alyssa's favorite. We'll see if it's Shauna's favorite section of the show called Rebrand. And this is when we look at the rebrands that are covering the internet. So, rebrands. The one that I'm most excited to talk about, let's be real, is these noodles. We even teased it on the previous show because I just think it's so fun. And this is coming on reporting from My Modern Met, which is a wonderful website. It's coming from Emma Taggart, and it is Olympic rings pasta is the most popular dish in the athletes' village. The Olympics are still going strong. I know I've talked so much about the Olympics, but there's just so much money and brand and stuff going in here. That it's hard to miss and see anything. So this is coming also from the official developer of this pasta and also the Olympics themselves. It says that this is a available dish in the Olympic Village for the athletes and to go and consume. It's one of the most popular ones. It was introduced to mark the 100-day countdown to the games, so it's strictly limited, and you won't find it in shops, unfortunately. You have to be an Olympian. Ben is saying, yes, everyone is obsessed with these noodles. Yes, I know. I'm very jealous. I want them, and I want them to mass market them. It is instead, there is a small number of boxes that will be given away through upcoming digital competitions and activities hosted by the International Olympic Community. I'm seeing some yum and some laughs in the chat. The pasta's packaging features winter sports themed illustrations by Italian artist Mariana Tomaselli, and they're very cool. They feel very active and action focused. The blue I think is interesting, but it is Winter Olympics after all. I just normally wouldn't associate maybe like a blue like this to something that is like pasta, because with pasta you would think of like reds and yellows and what have you. But they seem like they're pretty big. I like the illustrations on them. I like the minimalism of like having not the other colors of the Olympic rings. They're just kind of doing a white blackout here for the packaging. They're also just kind of really focusing on the Olympics really being the main cover. The interesting thing that I thought was here with the packaging design too is that there is no sign of the noodle on the actual box. Like the noodle itself tells the story and tells what I think is a lot of people's interest in this actual creation and this made noodle. But it's interesting to then see on the box themselves that there is no indication of any product imagery or what it looks like. And instead, we're kind of relying on these pictures that are taken by Olympians or the food staff or reports about the noodles that are going to be there. Alessandra is saying that she'll make her own pasta. If you figure out how to make these pasta noodles at home, and I can make Olympic noodle pasta at my house, call me right now. Please call me right now. Also, welcome to Nate, who has just joined us. Good to have you here. And also, Vandal wants to know where the Adobe pasta is. That would be a fun activation. And I feel like pretty easy to make an Adobe A into a noodle. I feel like that would probably hold up. I mean, maybe the little kind of like extra thing that sticks out will be different, but I don't know. I think it's something that could be looked into. I don't have to say on it, but it'd be interesting. And Oliver is saying that Barilla is a huge pasta brand here, and their whole brand is blue. Yes, but it's a different blue. It's not like this orange blue. Barilla is also big in America too, but it's a different type of blue. I just don't associate this blue teal with pasta. Speaking of blue, though, I guess we could talk about the new Titans logo. This is for the NFL. This leaked earlier this week, and Creative Block reported on it. This was from Georgia Coggin. It says that some think that it says a lot about the brand's identity. To look at their evolution, they started as the Tennessee Oilers, then rebranded as the Tennessee Titans, and now it seems they want to be in a position where they aren't the Oilers, but they still want to be, which is interesting. It looks like it really simplified down. They took out a lot of the depth effects from it. This is the old one. This is the new one. I think that it looks particularly nice on the helmets themselves. I just don't know if it feels entirely finished as far as kind of just the differentiation between the stars and the T. It probably will grow on me. I also interested to see the rest of the uniform, but a lot of people online are not happy at all. But But I feel like anytime any team changes any of their branding or their logos or their uniforms, people get really upset no matter what. So they're kind of already up against, failure immediately. But it is interesting to see kind of the fierce backlash as reported on by Creative Block and the people that are just upset about things changing. How do we feel? Do you guys like it? Are you guys into it? You into that? And yeah, also Reverb Mike is commenting back on the Noodles, saying oodles of noodles. There are no wrong noodles. And Kendall says that the blue is very different. Yes, it reads very differently. Very short story here. Also Creative Block grabbed my attention. Is that the new Apple event logo is looking very 90s. So if you guys remember the Apple computers of the 90s, and they used to be see-through, and they were these like big kind of like see-through monitors that also like lived on your computer, on your desktop, but they looked like they belonged in a music video. I always thought they were like the coolest thing ever when I was just a wee little lad. But this new event logo for the upcoming Apple event is kind of looking like it's finally referencing that again. So it would be interesting if they were able to then bring back some of the colorful, fun, exciting parts of it. According to The Verge, it says that Apple is doing something on March 4th. So that is probably where the branding is going to come from. It would be nice to see them to integrate more colors into their stuff. I know that the orange iPhone popularity is like really popping off in China specifically. This is also on Creative Block. I remember seeing this, and it apparently is going viral in China. And so maybe they are seeing that reference, and they are understanding that there is a desire for bright, colorful things. And then our last rebrand of the day is a spotted rebrand that came from Brand New, a really great website that always reports on rebranding. The agency Brandon rebranded Fabulosa, which, as you can see here on the left, is a multi-purpose cleaner that relied really on like flat imagery, kind of like patterns, and the idea of something that, I don't know, kind of read like that other one that is Miss Cleaner or whatever. And they have replaced it with this really strong 3D shiny like almost anti-design 2007 approach that I think is really appealing towards the Gen Z or Gen Alpha. To me, it definitely doesn't read as luxury, but I also don't think that the brand itself is made to be luxury. You can see their whole case study from Brandon Consultants on their website here. And it is a fun kind of case study here. They have animations here of things moving around. They really glitterified everything. They said that it was the greatest challenger brand story post-COVID. And it said that they wanted to develop a range of fragrance-led household cleaning products that truly work. And so it was born from that. It said that they really are inspired by TikTok and the brightness and the loudness of that. They really are having fun with kind of the branding and the motion and the way that they approach each bottles and the impact that they have. It's interesting to see. So you can check out that whole thing. It's linked in the raindrop along with everything else. And they, on their website, hide your cursor, which makes it hard for me to find, guys. Don't hide your cursor. Moran says that she saw this and she wanted to post it on Discord, but she didn't. You should post it on Discord. I love to see it. I did see someone posted something on Discord right not too long before we went live, and I wasn't able to look through it. And that was from Arif. Was something about music creation, and I need to look into that before I talk about it. And also Oliver was talking about Anthropic, which I also need to touch on. We are strapped for time though, and I still have a few things left for you. I would love to hop over to Spotlight because I reached out to this guy, Chris Moran, when I saw this, and I thought you guys would really like this, and he said that I could show it. So let's look at that. For whatever, let me reload my Firefly board. Let's see if I reload it, if it will play my videos. But I might also just have too many videos in here. But this is coming from Chris Moran, and I saw it on Instagram and I really liked it. You guys don't have audio. Foolish. I'm foolish. All right, we're going to do audio output capture at existing, and you should be able to hear this.
Listen to this rain falling in the notebook.
Still isn't over.
What you're hearing is actually bacon frying in a pan. This is a creative sound illusion filmmakers have been using forever. So here's how we take it into sound design. Most sounds don't mean anything on their own. Your brain uses the image to decide what it's hearing. Most people would go straight for a rain sound effect. That usually ends up sounding one-dimensional. The best scenes aren't made of one sound. They're made of carefully selected layers. Here's how I do it. First, I source sound effects from places like Free Sound or Soundly. At this stage, I'm not looking for rain. I'm looking for audio textures. We start with some distant wind, then a light rain ambience, a crack of thunder, which actually might just be a bowling ball rolling, and finally some closer raindrops, which are really just that bacon sizzling sound. And now the edit comes to life.
Isn't that fun? I always love finding out it sounds stuff like that. Also, like, it goes back to the age-old kind of idea of, like, you know, using ice cream instead of mashed potatoes. And now Alyssa says, but not the bacon being rain. So yeah, I just want you guys, when next time you're watching The Notebook, or anything that's, like, you know, nice and dramatic with rain, just remember that you're listening to the sizzling sound of bacon. Thank you again to Chris Moran, which is CHRISMORAN _ I think 2 underscores, for his Instagram post. And I just really liked it. And he has some really great stuff all about all different types of film editing. In another avenue of being a creator, not video editing, but more of like editing video for creation, is Saint Jimé, is how I'm assuming it, has this cool 3D printed hack to showcasing drawing on...
I designed this brush-mounted phone holder.
I'm going to make sure I mute this just because I don't know if we'll get content strike for this, so I'll just speak over him, but all credit goes to him. He designed this brush-mounted phone holder that allows you to get these sweet point-of-view shots with just your phone. You can use it for markers, brushes, and just listed it on his website, so you can go check it out. And it creates this really cool visual of being able to easily showcase physical work, and being able to show with this really crazy kind of perspective of it. You always got to get more creative with when you're creating your work online and you're sharing it. I would also be interested to see if this works with like a stylus or something, if you could make it happen. So yeah, Oliver says that he was familiar with Foley, so he's fully aware that nothing is real. Also, I saw that Wade was also saying Foley time. So maybe we have to hop into Foley at some point to learn more about that and do a kind of a deep dive there. Let's do resources just real quick because we only have a few minutes left. This one's kind of a resource, kind of a hyperlink. You know, I always kind of run into that. But this is something I came across. I think Petapixel even reported on it, and then I fell down a rabbit hole of looking into it. And this is from Newgrain, which is a film photo community that launched last year. He posted on to Reddit, and he said that 4 years ago, he released the first prototype of Newgrain, which is an app to discover film stocks and share your film photos. He said it was slow and buggy and very limited, but the response was overwhelmingly positive. So he made it clear that this could grow into something bigger. He says a year later, he launched the iOS app. And since then, it has grown to over 9,000 photographers and 35,000 photos shared. It says that it remained limited to iPhone users, but then he just last month announced that there was the release of a web version of Newgrain. So it's newgrain.app, and it says that it's a photo sharing platform built specifically for analog photography. It's a space to share your film photos, get inspired by the community, meet other photographers, and explore film stocks, cameras, and labs. That said, Newgrain isn't meant to be an Instagram alternative. Most users use it alongside Instagram and as a complement. And it's really cool. It has beautiful imagery on it. It's all analog stuff. And when you're going through it, it's also really educational because then you can see the specs and the details behind the actual photos that are taken and the cameras. So I'm going to bring this down here real quick, and we're going to look at Sena. All rights reserved to them, but you can see here that it was taken with Kodak Gold 200 format, 35 millimeter on a Nikon F3. And you can just kind of go and you can explore it and see what it's all about. And very beautiful images, lots of different creators, and just a really nice deviation from something that is all just digital. I'm a very digital guy myself, but nice to have inspiration and a resource to learn how other people are doing it. It's Nice That did a interesting article all about who owns this book. And this is coming from Paul Moore. It's on It's Nice That. It says, Michele Hratko grew up in a library where she was surrounded by public domain imagery and copyrighted stacks of art and design. Now she's laid down a map for contemporary resource designers who are using found imagery in the age of AI. So this is something I'm seeing more and more of. People are using public domain and open things to be like, okay, I'm not going to necessarily use AI. I'm going to use the things that are freely available to me. And so this is something that I, heartily welcome. And I think that you guys will have a fun time reading this article. It's a nice kind of, profile piece. And it seems like this is a really cool book that gives a lot of resources to a lot of folks, and you can go through and you can read all about it. Looks like it's very beautifully designed. It's funny how like these originally used to feel so cheap, but now like whenever I get a book that's kind of spiral bound like this, I'm always like, ooh, this is fancy, this is design. They even have like the smaller pages within a page, which is always really cool, or like things that interact with each other and tell a story just by kind of the relationship of the size between pages, which is really nice. So that's on It's Nice That, and that's from Paul Moore, and the creator of the book is Michele Hratko. So all right belongs to her. And then the last resource that we have here is another quick Adobe update. I know I said I was going to keep it light. I'm sorry, but tax season is coming up, and this is how small businesses and individuals can use Adobe Acrobat to prepare for their tax season. I'm sorry. We got to do our taxes, guys. You can digitize your paper with Adobe Scan, so you can scan things in even if you don't have a scanner. Like this is W-2s, receipts, invoices, donation records, and it can turn all of that into digital files. You can combine and organize files together so that it can be all in one PDF, so you can send it to your accountant, or you can upload it to places and then make sure it all makes sense. And then they also are implementing the AI assistant to help protect your stuff. So a lot of times there's sensitive information like social security number, income details, and bank account information that needs to be secured. And using the AI assistant, it will help prompt, assign, and secure for your documents before sending them to your accountant, which is all really great. We didn't really have time for this hyperlinks, but it's just a really cool searching for birds. Check out the Discord and you can see what it's all about. But I want to have time to crown the winner for font of the week. Alyssa wants to know if that's what I'm doing with my taxes. Yeah, I mean, I'm just struggling with my taxes all the time. I have my accountant, and I always get really frustrated. I'm like, just tell me what I have to do to not go to jail. Just let me pay and get this over with. It's a journey every year. Not that I've been threatened with going to jail. That's my biggest fear. I wouldn't survive. On that note, let's just like the video before you leave. Yes, guys. But don't leave yet because we still have a few more seconds before we hop over to Twitch. And the font of the week winner for this week, with 67% of the vote. Not that tight of a call out this week. But 67% of the vote belongs to Quokka. So this cute little guy. Both animal and typeface is our winner. I always go and hop into our raindrop, which is going to be linked in the description. And from there, you can always see that I take the winners from any given week. They're not even on here yet, so I'm going to have to actually make sure that I add them. But I will add them into the Font of the Week winners, which you then will be able to access via all of the previous winners of previous episodes. So Like I said, this is a podcast, so do me a favor, guys, and give it a follow on either Spotify or iTunes or wherever you listen to podcasts. Also, do me a favor, give me a follow over on Ryan Selvey on Instagram. Like I said, I just posted that reel, so if you could repost it, comment it, share it, you name it. The beginning first hour really, really helps. So would love to have your support there. We will be back next week, same time, same place, with File New. And I really appreciate you guys all showing up. And thank you for voting on Font of the Week. Thanks for all being here. Hello to everybody that has been here throughout all the weeks, but also a big hello to all of our new listeners and viewers. It's really nice to have you here, and I appreciate you. I hope you guys have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you over in Twitch in just a minute. Thanks for watching.